Hello dear students, as you all know we are doing chapter number 4, moving charges and magnetism. This is going to be the last lecture of the chapter. In the last video lecture we discussed about moving coil galvanometer. Today we are going to learn conversion of galvanometer into an ammeter and voltmeter. Okay, theoretically this chapter will be done today, and then after one day I'll take more to solve some important questions of NCERT. Today also we are going to solve some NCERT questions. But tomorrow also we are going to solve some NCERT questions. Then after I have told you that one topic was left in the confusion that the topic has been deleted this year, but the topic remains there in the syllabus of chapter number 3. So we are going to do that topic means in the day after tomorrow lecture, right? So today we are going to do conversion of galvanometer. But before starting that, what is a galvanometer? I have told you in the last lecture that the galvanometer is a device by which we can detect the current in the circuit. The principle of the galvanometer is the torque acting on a current carrying loop placed in a magnetic field is given by NIAB sin theta. By using radial magnetic field, we can make sin theta as 1 because theta is 90 degree for a radial magnetic field. The torque is equal to NIAB, or basically torque is proportional to current. Okay, so this is the basic principle of moving coil galvanometer. Higher the current, higher the torque, higher will be the angular deflection. So by scaling that angular deflection in suitable big measurements, we can detect the current, we can measure the current also. But today we are going to discuss how this galvanometer is converted into an ammeter and a voltmeter. So first of all, let us discuss the conversion of galvanometer into an ammeter. Conversion of galvanometer into an ammeter. Conversion of galvanometer into an ammeter. What is an ammeter? Ammeter is a device which measures the current. Galvanometer is a device which detects the current in the circuit, but ammeter is a device which measures the current in the circuit. Okay, so from the galvanometer only we can make this ammeter. How? First of all, let us discuss something about ammeter. Suppose one resistance is there, capital R, whose value is 2 ohm, and a cell is there which is of 5 volt. Suppose I have connected an ammeter over here. What should this ammeter read? What should be the reading in this ammeter? Obviously, cell is of 5 volt, resistance is of 2 ohm. The current is going to be 5 volt 2 is equal to 2.5 ampere. This ammeter should read 2.5 ampere. But suppose in practical cases what happens, you have not to suppose, it is like that. In practical cases what happens, this ammeter has a resistance, and because of that this resistance is added with the given external resistance in series combination, and when some extra resistance is there, then what will happen? Current is equal to V by R. When some extra resistance is there, resistance increases, the effective load on the circuit is increased, and because of that current decreases. So this ammeter will not read 2.5 ampere, actually it will read less than 2.5 ampere, and the reason is this ammeter has some resistance. So what we say? We say that an ideal ammeter is of zero resistance. Zero resistance. This is a very important point. An ideal ammeter is of zero resistance, so that it does not have potential drop across itself, and whatever the current is flowing through the resistance, we can measure that current only. This point is very important. And now from this point, let us see how this galvanometer has to be converted into an ammeter. Let us see the circuit. Suppose this is the circuit. This is the current I which has to be measured, and this is the galvanometer. Now the problem is galvanometer cannot bear high amount of currents because of hair springs. As I have told you earlier, means in the last video lecture we have discussed, there is a hair spring connected at the bottom. So when this coil is twisted, that hair spring also twisted. When current is large, then it often happens that hair spring get broken. Is it clear? So because of that hair spring, because of phosphorus bronze strip, we cannot flow a large amount of current through the galvanometer. So actually here we have to do two things. First, we have to make sure that small amount of current should pass through galvanometer, and the second, we have to measure this current also. So what we do, we make an arrangement like we connect a low resistance wire in parallel to the galvanometer, and that low resistance wire is called shunt. It is not like that the shunt is being used here only. It is used everywhere. Whenever we give a bypass to the current and higher amount of current passes through that bypass, so that path is called shunt. That resistance is called shunt. What is shunt? The shunt is basically a low resistance path. A low resistance path. Is it clear? Now what happens? This current I is divides at this junction. Suppose the galvanometer maximum it can bear a current Ig. So what is the current passing through this shunt? It will be I minus Ig. Okay, it will be I minus Ig. I minus Ig will pass through this point. Ig will come over here, and finally we have a current I over here. So this arrangement is our ammeter. This arrangement is our ammeter. Suppose this is a point A and this is a point B. So for what value of I, what amount of what resistance should be connected, or for what resistance this galvanometer can measure what current, let us derive a mathematical formula for that. Okay, and how this formula will be? I am going to write the formula for potential difference between A and B. The potential difference between A and B, let me write here, potential difference between A and B is, according to this, it will be Ig into capital G, where capital G is what? Capital G is resistance of galvanometer. Okay, capital G is resistance of galvanometer. Ig into G, it is the voltage drop, and from this path it will be I minus Ig into S. This is your main equation, right? This is your main equation. Now in this main equation, why I am saying so, in some questions I is given, S is being asked. In some question S is being given, I is asked. From whatever is being asked, you can solve from this question. So you can solve from this formula. Okay, suppose the value of S has to be calculated. Then from here S is equal to I minus Ig is transferred to this side. It will become Ig upon I minus Ig into capital G. This is the value of S. And suppose I is being asked, then what will do? I will be equal to, just see, this S will go this side. It will become Ig into G upon S. Now this minus Ig is transferred to this side, so it will become plus. So Ig plus. Is it clear? This S is transferred to this side, and then Ig is also transferred to that side. We are going to have this. And suppose if I take Ig as common, we are going to have 1 plus G upon S, or I is equal to Ig G plus S upon S. This is the value of current for a given shunt. Okay. Moreover, for protecting this one, an ideal ammeter should be of zero resistance. Since galvanometer and the shunt, they are in parallel combination. So basically when we calculate the R equivalent, it will be GS upon G plus S, which will be less than G, which will be less than S. So basically combination will have low resistance than individual resistances. Because they are in parallel, it is a very well-known thing in parallel combination. Whatever be the resultant resistance, it will be less than the individual resistances. The equivalent resistance is GS upon G plus S, which will be less than capital G and capital S itself. So from here, the another purpose is also fulfilled, and that purpose was an ideal ammeter is of zero resistance. We cannot make a zero resistance ammeter, but what we can do, we can make an ammeter which is of very less resistance. From here we can get that. Is it clear? This is how a galvanometer is converted into an ammeter. You must remember the formula. Don't remember this, don't remember this, remember this one. Ig into G is equal to I minus Ig into S. Because from this we can derive this, from this we can derive this also. Is it clear? So this is how a galvanometer is converted into an ammeter. Let us solve a question based on this so that our understanding becomes more clear. Let us take a question. Okay, the question is a galvanometer with a coil of resistance 12 ohm. A galvanometer with a coil of resistance 12 ohm. What is being given? The resistance of the galvanometer, and that is your capital G is 12 ohm. Shows full scale deflection for a current of 2.5 milliampere. Ig has been given 2.5 milliampere. Let me tell you one thing, it will not be given as a straight, okay? That the galvanometer can bear up to this current. It will be given in the language like the galvanometer shows maximum deflection for this amount of current. So that very amount is the maximum current that the galvanometer can bear. Here the Ig is given 2.5 milliampere. How will you convert this meter into an ammeter which can measure up to 0 to 7.5 ampere current? You have to convert this galvanometer into an ammeter which can measure 0.0 to 7.5 ampere current. So basically here that I we have to measure is 7.5 ampere. Now G is given, Ig is given, I is also given. What we need to find out? We need to find out the shunt resistance. The first line you are going to write is to convert the galvanometer into an ammeter, we have to connect a low resistance wire called shunt in the parallel. Okay? To convert galvanometer into an ammeter, a low resistance wire has to be connected in parallel to galvanometer. So what is the value of that S? So I have told you that. Please remember this formula, Ig into G is equal to I minus Ig into S. What is the value of S from here? It will be Ig upon I minus Ig into G. Now just put the values. What is the value of Ig? It is 2.5 milliampere. When we convert into ampere, it will be 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. Upon what is the I we have to measure? It is 7.5 ampere minus 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 whole multiply by 12. Now we have to solve this. How we can? Let us see. 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 upon this can be written as 7500 minus 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 3. I hope you are able to understand what I have done. I have made this 7500 into 10 to the power minus 3. Then 10 to the power minus 3 of this, 10 to the power minus 3 of this, I have taken common. So it will become 7500 minus 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 whole multiplied by 12. 10 to the power minus 3, 10 to the power minus 3 will be cancelled out. Here we are going to have 2.5 upon 7500 minus 2.5, we are going to have 7497.5 into 10 12. And when we solve it, we are going to have answer as approximate 4 into 10 to the power minus 3 ohm. Okay, 4 into 10 to the power minus 3 ohm. Approximate answer 10 to the power minus 3 ohm. So this is the value of S, and this is how this galvanometer will be converted into a meter. Okay, very easy kind of questions are being asked from this topic. So this is related to conversion of galvanometer into a meter. Now we are going to solve, we are going to see how this galvanometer is converted into a voltmeter, right? The next topic is conversion of galvanometer into a voltmeter. Conversion of galvanometer into a voltmeter. Let us see. Conversion of galvanometer into a voltmeter. What does a voltmeter do? Voltmeter measures the potential difference, right? Now what is the important point about voltmeter? Suppose one resistance is there, one cell is there, one more resistance is there. Suppose this is of 4 volt. Okay, this resistance is of 1 ohm, this resistance is of 1 ohm, and this is of 3 ohm. What is the current flowing in the circuit? The current will be, the equivalent resistance will be 4 ohm, the cell is of 4 volt, current flowing will be 1 ampere. I will be what? 1 ampere, right? Now suppose if you connect a voltmeter over here, or here, anywhere across 1 or across 3, what this voltmeter should read? What should be the reading in the voltmeter? Answer is very easy. Since the current 1 ampere is passing through 3 ohm, this voltmeter must read 3 volt. Okay, but in real practice what happens? This ideally what should happen, the current which is going 1 ampere should not divide over here. The same current should pass through the 3 ohm resistance. But what happens in our real situations, that due to here the current divides due to some resistance of voltmeter. Ideally, voltmeter should not offer any current through this path. Ideally, voltmeter should be of infinite resistance. Then only 1 ampere current will be passing through the 3 ohm resistance. But in real practice, it is not like that. Voltmeter is not ideal. It is not of infinite resistance. So because of this, what happens? The current divides over here. So here, whatever current we get, it will be less than 1 ampere. And then the volt reading of the voltmeter is also less than 3 volt. So what is the important point? Important point is an ideal voltmeter should be of infinite resistance. Okay, I have taught you in the last video chapter potentiometer. Potentiometer does what? Potentiometer also measures the potential difference. What does a voltmeter do? Voltmeter also does the same. It also measures the potential difference. But we prefer potentiometer over voltmeter because voltmeter ideally should be of infinite resistance, but in real practice it is not of infinite resistance. What happens? It draws some current from the circuit, and because of that it does not give the accurate value of potential difference between the 2 points across which the voltmeter has been connected. But what does a potentiometer do? When potentiometer gives the reading, I hope you remember, at null point it does not draw any current from the circuit, and that's why the potentiometer gives the accurate reading and voltmeter does not. And this is the reason why potentiometer is preferred over voltmeter. An ideal voltmeter should be of infinite resistance, but in real practice there is no voltmeter which is ideal. Is it clear? Now then, how the galvanometer has been converted into a voltmeter, let us see. How a galvanometer is converted into a voltmeter, let us see. So suppose this is our galvanometer, and now this galvanometer has to be converted into a voltmeter. So what we do? We connect a very high resistance capital R in the series with the galvanometer. And now, since there is only one branch, maximum current can pass through this is Ig, because galvanometer cannot bear a current more than this. Now suppose if this point is A, this point is B, so basically our arrangement should measure the potential difference between point A and point B. What is the potential difference between point A and point B? Potential difference between point A and point B. What is R? R I have forgot to tell. I forget to write. What is the R? R is a high resistance. High resistance, right? Potential difference between point A and B, VB minus VA minus VB. VA minus VB. Suppose it is V. How this will be given? Basically, it will be given by Ig into R plus Ig into capital G. Is it clear? I have written VA minus VB. Basically, I am coming from B to A. A is my final point, B is my initial point. Current is going from this side. This will be plus, this will be minus, this will be plus, this will be minus. Okay, when I go from B to A, from minus to plus I am going. That is why I have written plus Ig into G. Then again from minus to plus I am going. I am writing Ig into R. So basically V is equal to what? Ig in bracket of this conversion. V is equal to Ig R plus G. Suppose from here if I have to calculate the value of R, how I will? Ig is transferred to this side, then G is also transferred. It will become V upon Ig minus G. V upon Ig minus G. This is the value of resistance, okay, to calculate, to measure a potential difference V. Is it clear? What will be the equivalent resistance of the combination? Equivalent resistance will be R equivalent will be R plus G. They are in series. And when we calculate R plus G, it will be greater than R also, it will be greater than G also. About R, I have already told that it is a very, very high resistance. And when we take the combination becomes even higher. From here, we try to achieve this purpose, we try to attain this purpose, that a galvanometer should be of infinite resistance. We cannot make it at infinite resistance, but we can make it at very high resistance. This R comes out to be 4000, 5000 ohm sometimes. So this is a very high resistance connected in the circuit. Okay, let us do a question also on the basis of this so that we can understand this topic. Remember the main formula. V is equal to Ig in bracket R plus G. Same question I am going to take. Earlier I have taken a galvanometer of resistance 12 ohm. Capital G value is given 12 ohm. Ig has been given 2.5 milliampere. Okay. Now the question is, how will you convert the galvanometer into a voltmeter of range 0 to 10 volt? A voltmeter of range 0 to 10 volt. So basically what the voltage we have to read? 10 volt. What is being asked? How will you convert? The first line of the solution will go to convert the given galvanometer into a voltmeter, a high resistance is connected in series. And now what we have to do, we have to calculate that high value of resistance. For R I have told you, for general formula is V Ig in bracket R plus G. From here the value of R is V upon Ig plus minus G. What is the value of V here? 10. What is the value of Ig? It is 2.5 milliampere, 10 to the power minus 3, minus 12. When we solve it, R is equal to 10 to the power 3. When go in the numerator, it will become 10 to the power 3. 2.5 will cut 10 4 times. 4 into 10 to the power 3, it will become 4000. Minus 12. R is going to be 3988 ohm. As I have told you that R sometime it comes out to be in the range of 4000 5000. Here the answer is 3988 ohm. Okay. So this is how galvanometer is converted into a voltmeter. Okay. Every year we expect some questions from this topic. This topic is very easy also. It is not very difficult. As you can see, if you know the formula, if you know the concept, the topics are very easy. Now this chapter has been done theoretically. Theoretically this chapter is over. Some NCERT numericals are there which are very important, which are very tricky. Some questions are there which are like putting the values, getting the result. If you know the formula, you know the right formula, you have to just put the values and then after you will get the result. But some questions are there, like one question is there related to Helmholtz coil. One question is there at the last which is in which it is being asked about the stable or unstable equilibrium. Tomorrow I'm going to discuss, I'll try to discuss all the important questions of this chapter, and then after the remaining part of chapter 3, heating effect of current, and then till chapter number 4 is done. We have done chapter number 9, we have done chapter number 10, then chapter number 1 to 4 we have also done. Basically we have done 6 chapters. Believe me, it is going to be, I think, marks wise if we calculate, then it will be more than 50% we have studied in through this video lecture medium. Okay, I hope you are preparing yourself for the examination. Very soon you are going to get your timetable for the unit test also. In the month of August it will be taken, and in the unit test till magnetism means chapter number 5, the portion I am going to give till chapter number 5, 9, 10, then chapter number 1 to 5. Hope you are preparing well. Do yourself best. Keep yourself safe. This is all for the day. Thank you.